Hi friendly friends, it's Amy from Savor, Salvage, Scent, and I hope this finds you well. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you enjoy this content, I hope that you will give the video a thumbs up. I love exchange, so feel free to leave comments, questions, educate me. I am here to learn, so would love to hear from you and hope you will subscribe if you're so inspired. So today I am going to talk about I think 8 of my favorite scents that focus on carnation. First I'll say, if I could single-handedly change anything about the perfume market, I would do something to bring carnation back into current conversation. So I have since a child loved the smell of carnation, dianthus, anything in that family. My dad, his name was Bill or William, and we always had at the gate of our garden Sweet William, which is a dianthus. And it had a, gosh, let's see, like a spicy, cinnamony, clove-y smell. It was amazing in the heat. It could take a lot of heat, and in our case there was a mixture of colors. There was like a white with a sprinkling of a little fuchsia. There was like a really bright red, a dark red, a light pink, and we always had those near the kind of gate of our market, our family garden. So I always loved the scent, love carnations. I am guessing, although I'd love to hear from you, that carnations kind of get a bad rap because, I mean, I would say carnation was used much more predominantly in perfumes in the past. And while there are certain artisan houses that still have the guts to play with it, I think it's fallen out of style, or it seems passé to some. My guess is because compared to a rose, let's say, it's a cheaper purchase. And some people associate the flower with funerals, although I see roses and all kinds of flowers at funerals, so I'm not exactly sure why the carnation gets the bad rap. And sometimes I think it's just seen by florists as like a filler flower, but I will tell you, I love carnations. Anybody can send me carnations any day of the week. I think they're beautiful. In the past I read that, I think this was like in Victorian times, that there was even, carnations were so widely used, and there was almost like a key around the gift of a carnation with color. So I think it was something like a red carnation said, "Yes, ma'am," or "Yes, sir." And pink carnation, I hope I'm getting this right, was kind of like a no with apology, and then maybe a yellow carnation was something like flat out no, you know, something like that. And that I thought was a hoot. Anyways, I love the scent. If I had to choose 3 favorite notes, I think carnation would be one of them. I'm crazy about them. And then when I can find a scent that highlights carnation, I almost always love it or get it because they're not readily available. So today I'm going to talk about 8 of my favorite carnation scents. Because I'm talking about 8, I'm not going to go into every single note. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who makes it, and what kind of carnation it is, or how it sings to me on the skin. So I've worn these all at different times, and I've also tested them over time today and on scent strips, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. I have to start, speaking of Sweet William, the Flower William, this, okay, nobody cry, this is my dad's last bottle, God bless him, Bill, of Old Spice. And you know, to a lot of us this is like iconic. I mean, I would venture to say half of my friends' fathers wore this growing up. And it's funny to me because carnation, I think another reason it gets a bad rap is because I think men see it as feminine. I'm like, whatever. I think a lot of people don't realize Old Spice is super, super carnation dominant. Oh my God. And it's spicy. Carnation can be very, very spicy. So let me tell you a little bit about the background of Old Spice. It's created by the Schulten Company. I believe it's still being made, just not in this kind of bottle. And I think it's been majorly reformulated. And I'll tell you a little bit about what I know about that. This was first created in 1938. I think my dad graduated in 46. He would have been in his 90s now. And this was his bag all through his life, man. He was about it. He would always put this on right before bed. He always smelled so good. I would have to give my dad a hug before bed. And I mean, truly, this was like ordained in my house. And he always smelled great, like Old Spice. So 1938. I am going to tell you a little bit about the notes in this because it's surprising. I think it's funny that we sometimes think things that are part of our everyday or our ritual are not great. And I read these notes and I'm like, it's a hell of a composition. So top notes are nutmeg, lemon orange, star anise, and aldehydes. The heart notes are carnation, jasmine, geranium, cinnamon, heliotrope, pimento. How cool is that? Never heard pimento used in anything. Let's see what else. And then the base notes are ambergris, benzoin, cedar, vanilla, tonka, and musk. The nose was, I think it's Albert Hauck, H-A-U-C-K. But I would call this, if I had to call it a few words, this is a rummy carnation, or it originally was. So this is an old bottle. Let's see, it's 2020. My dad has been gone for about 10 years, and I think this is probably a 10-year-old bottle. He had a bunch of them. This is like, he stockpiled this stuff. So this is at least 20 years old, if not even older. And my dad wore it forever. And to me, this is something, when I've smelled it on younger men, the rumminess seems to have gone away. It's still spicy, but this is, I would call a rummy carnation. Yeah, Old Spice. Mwah. Look at that bottle. Okay. By the way, I originally grabbed this when, frankly, my father was passing, and I was like, this would be a great thing to remember him by. So every once in a while, you know, I take a whiff out of the bottle, but once a year, usually around Christmas, I actually wear it. It's great. I love it. So Old Spice. All right, next in the list. I'm going to talk about two that are pretty easy to still find and get. One is, God. All right, y'all who speak French, please tell me how you say this word. I think it's Oeillet Sauvage. So it's the French name for carnation, wild carnation. Sauvage sounds so much sexier than wild, doesn't it? And I think Sauvage, kind of like wild, here has a double entendre. It can mean like wild out in the world and wild like off the hook or chain. So this is made by Lardison. And let me tell you a little bit about this. This was first released in 2000. The nose is Anne Filippo. Many of you will know her. She has made perfumes for Chloe. She did Diesel Loverdose. She did ones for Armani. I want to say she's designed for, God, I want to say even, there's a few more. But she's a powerhouse. I would call this, so obviously they're calling it wild carnation. I would call it a soft honey carnation. There's something in these notes. So pink pepper, rose, carnation, ylang ylang, lily, wallflower, morning glory, resin, vanilla. The combination of these things create like a soft honeyed carnation. It's so nice. It smells a little bit like what you get right out of the garden, but honeyed and a little bit like skin. It's beautiful. This is not a huge projector. Like this is one that, in fact, I'm gonna put it on right now. This is great, right out of the bottle. And then when it softens, yeah, this is not one where you're gonna project wildly into a crowd. It's gonna make you feel really good about yourself. And those who dare to get close enough are gonna think you smell amazing. So yeah, I don't know how Sauvage it is. It's beautiful. I would call it honeyed carnation. All right, so Lardison. Look how beautiful that bottle is. And okay, I could do a whole video on bottles that feel nice when you hold them. This one, oh, the weight of it, oh, it just feels so great. Easy to spray. Anyways, love it. Okay, so next is Prada. Also the French word for carnation. For those of you who love to say it, God help me. This, you know, a lot of you are familiar with this Prada Infusion line, and have smelled either Prada Amber or Prada the Iris one. They're both freaking gorgeous. And I would say, if you're familiar with those two, this plays along nicely with them and has some similarities. Let me tell you a little bit about it. All right, so this is Infusion Day, is it? Oh God. Released in 2015. The notes are fewer: carnation, Australian sandalwood, styrax, which is, I think, in the benzoin family, so it's kind of vanillic. What else can I tell you about it? It's like boozy-ish, I think, if I remember correctly. It also has Indonesian patchouli and mandarin. And if you're familiar with some of their other scents, I would call this, yeah, this is like a powdery carnation, I would say. A spicy, powdery, little medicinal carnation. And I mean that in a good way. Okay, so this is, yeah. It's spicy, but not so spicy that like it smells like a food. Tiny bit medicinal, or it has an alcohol kind of vibe because of, you know, perfume. And definitely feels like a lighter carnation. Again, this is not another one. Tell me if I'm wrong, but in my case, this is not another one that screams. It's soft. So Prada. All right. Next, I'm going to talk to you about my favorite carnation fragrance. It's been discontinued. It's so hard to find. Okay, so I should talk another time in another video about kind of holy grail, hard to find, have been searching for and found perfume. So first of all, I'll say I'm really lucky that I own it all. So this is, and by the way, this is not its original top. I got this tester. Anyways, it was a freaking miracle that I found it because it's not around anymore. And I put a cap from another perfume on top to protect it. So this is Royal Apothecary's Noble Carnation. It also originally had a kind of faux carnation top. Beautiful bottle and script. So those of you who have shopped in Anthropologie may be familiar with Royal Apothic. They sell great scents, usually floral. There have been a few that haven't been, but they've been, I think they're really nice because they're often like portraying a flower that was popular in vintage days or in the old days, but in a modern kind of way. Oh my God, this is so good. It's my favorite carnation. And if I had to choose maybe my top 3 or 5 perfumes, this would definitely be one of them. So let me tell you a little bit more about it, what's in it. So this was released in 2012. Sadly, where a lot of their other scents have carried on, this is not one of them. And again, maybe it's because maybe the young people hate carnations. Oh. The top notes are black currant and carnation. Mid notes are marigold, clove, and violet leaf. And the base notes are cedar, sandalwood, and musk. There's no nose listed to give credit to. I apologize. I would say this is a spicy, edible carnation. Oh my God. It is this is one of those where like I smell it and I'm like, oh, I can't believe how good it smells. All right, so let me find another part of my body to spray it on. What really? Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Okay, it's amazing how background players can lift up a perfume or any piece of art. So what I mean by that is, when I sprayed this and the first time I smelled it, I immediately bought it. I bought this like, I don't know, 6 or 8 years ago. I was in Anthropologie and I bought a little tester, or not a tester, a small travel size. And immediately, like a week later, I went for a full bottle because I was like, this is amazing. And then when I found out it was discontinued, I started looking. I have looked for this for like 2 or 3 years. It usually ranges in price from, I don't know, $100 to $300. And I finally found a bottle for like $60, and that's when I let myself go for it. I'll continually be looking for it. It's incredible. First of all, look at the color of that juice. My God. All right. This is a spicy edible carnation. It smells, so background players to me, when I first smell it, I get just the truest, most gorgeous carnation. But when I read the notes, I'm like, yeah, I would be remiss to not understand that what elevates that smell is probably this black currant, clove. And then some of the background players, where some of the things kind of elevate or amp up that smell of carnation, some of them provide a little bit of like a powderiness. And I think that's like the violet leaf, the cedar, the musk kind of deepens it. But I would say the black currant's really important in that it gives it this richness or body. And so to me, this is just like a delicious edible carnation. I want to take a bite out of myself wearing this, let alone somebody else. Okay, so Noble Apothic's Carnation, Noble Carnation. And I'm sorry, it's Royal Apothic's Noble Carnation. All right. Sadly out of print, still can find it. Okay, for those of you who are not new to the channel, you might have heard me talk about Fendi's Asia before. This is one of my favorite bottles in the game. Look at that beauty. Oh, look at the top of the bottle. Come on, it's gorgeous. Oh my God. All right. All right, I'm not going to say a ton about the notes in this, and here's why. There's like 50 of them. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I think is important, however. Okay, so first of all, it looks like Asja, but it's pronounced Asia, which is how Italians, I believe, would say that. This is, you know, obviously made by Italians. It's made by Fendi. It was made in 1992. This is sadly discontinued as well, but you can still find it somewhat affordably. I would say this is a small bottle, probably 1.7, I'm guessing, or something around there. I think I paid 40 or 50 for this. You can pay up to $100-200 for a really big bottle, but you only need like 1 or 2 sprays of this. And I'm an oversprayer, in case you haven't noticed. This is great. There are a gazillion notes. The nose was Jean Guichard, who created Lulu and Eden by Cacharel, Calvin Klein's Obsession, Soleil by Fragonard, so some major heavy hitters, incredible. And I can see this kind of being like a sister to Obsession. I would call this a cinnamony, incensey carnation. So this to me starts to definitely, I think, while this is a Italian company, I feel like this bottle has a chinoiserie feel, and I definitely think this has like an oriental feel as far as the way it smells. And so I would say like resiny, incensey, cinnamony carnation. Gorgeous, beautiful, highly recommend, incredible. Okay, so Fendi's Asia. And then I'm going to talk about 2 of newer acquisitions of mine. I've been trying to explore niche or handmade kind of perfume houses. I'll be honest, for years when I tried oils, I had experienced a lot of poor quality oils. I'm not going to lie. But I love these 2 by Alkemia. And then after I'm done talking to this, I'll talk a little bit about, I know there's a long list of carnation scents I do not own and that I have my eye on. So I would love to hear from you as far as what you've experienced, but I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm looking at. But these 2 I think are so great. They're so different from one another. So the first is called, they're both by Alkemia. The first is called Evil Temptress. Let me tell you a little bit more about that. Let me find my little notes here. Okay. This, I think, let's see. This was created, I think, just recently, like, I want to say just in the last couple of years, maybe last year even. The notes are saffron, pink pepper, Ceylon cinnamon, carnation, bourbon, roses, honey, I think like some kind of whiskey soaked pear, cashmerean, hay, tonka, caramel, leather, black opium. It goes on and on and on. Like, this is a major, major composition. For those of you who aren't familiar, the company is run or owned by a nose named, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly because I don't know her personally, Shara Lamoureux. It's SHARRA LAMOUREAUX. I do know in the few times when I've purchased things from here, she's super responsive and really, really kind and engaging. But I would say this, okay, get ready to clutch your pearls, boys and girls. I would call this a boudoir carnation, perhaps even a slutty carnation. This is like, come hither. I mean, this is like, it's beautiful. This is a powerhouse. And smoky, boozy, smells to me like adult activities even. Yeah, it's great. I would say in small doses. This is not one you want to bathe in, which I tend to do. So I have to kind of hold back a little with this one. It's gorgeous. I would frankly not wear this around somebody unless you really dig them. So there's that. Okay. Last but not least, also by Alkemia, is green carnation. It is so hard for me to find a carnation scent that smells just like a carnation. And this to me is the perfect name. And this is exactly, I'm not going to read all the notes to you. This is exactly what you get. You get green carnation. I do think that this has absinthe in it, but the greenness to me is like, you get the stem, you get the fresh flower. This literally smells like you just cut a carnation from your garden. And so you get those leafy, green, bright elements. This is one to me, it's an uplifting scent. And it's one that almost smells like spring to me, even though carnation's really more of a summer flower. It's bright, cheerful, green, stemmy, wonderful. And where I would say Evil Temptress is a slutty carnation, this I would say is a what name would I give it? It's a sweet carnation. It's a fresh carnation. So, green carnation. So, as you can see, I love carnation. However, there are a ton more that I tend to explore, acquire. For instance, I know that Serge Lutens has created a carnation dominant perfume. As you may know, I've really been digging into like solstice scents. Oh, I love that house so much. And so I'm about to, when they're back in stock, get into some of her carnation scents. I'm so excited about them. Everything I've tried from the house. I'm going to do another review soon. They're blowing my mind. So I can only imagine what she'll do with carnation. Gosh, what else? I think there's even another Lardison perfume. So anyways, I would love to hear from you. Do you wear carnation scents? I would love to know if you know of other carnation scents in addition to this grouping today. And lastly, why do you think the carnation is out of style? Am I crazy? Is it out of style? If so, why do you think it's out of style? And how can we bring it back? All right. Peace to everyone. Hope you're well and hope to talk soon. Cheers. Bye.